All right.
All right, what up, everybody? Welcome into Studio Day, Heifer Day Quarantine. I'm hanging out with my buddy Mike Crum from a couple different things. Cowboys Wire with USA Today, my buddy KD Drummond, and the Across the Cowboys podcast. What up, Mike? What's happening, man?
How you doing?
We are here to fight about TCU safeties, and by fight, I mean talk about really good players. So Mike sort of invited me, and it just evolved into being right here, which will exist on my YouTube and will exist on, I don't know, wherever else it exists, wherever Mike's going to put it. And I love the conversation because it's about two players that I think a lot of people want to see on the Cowboys. Or maybe I'm the only one who wants to see one of them on the Cowboys, and everybody wants to see your guy on the Cowboys. But we're here to talk about the merits of our Darius Washington, TCU safety, versus Trevon Moehrig, TCU safety. Would you like to set up with your guy and just tell anybody who's not familiar about Trevon Moehrig, about his fit, about what you like, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'd say the main thing for him is he's a over-the-top free safety, and in Quinn's system, if there's one thing I would really, really like to get, it is that somebody that could cover the deep middle of the field. He's got everything college level wise, all the accolades you could want. He has the size, which is going to be a big thing that we get into now. I'm not a size person. I love Antoine Winfield, but there's some limits, you know. So he was safety one last year, Winfield Jr. But everything you want: 6'1", 208, leader in the backfield, has the accolades. You know, he produced over all 3 years. He made clutch game catches. He made interceptions. So for me, he's somebody that I don't want in the top 20 or anything. You know, he has concerns, but if we were to trade back anywhere like Steelers 24 up through our 44 pick, if he's there and we got him, I would be happy with him personally.
All right. So I'm setting myself up, to have, this is like the biggest, risk of my 7 years of draft coverage. Because I do think that my 5'8", 178-pound Darius Washington is the best safety in this draft class, and he's 5'8". That's a thing. He's 5'8", and he and I would like to apologize to everyone for being 5'8". But I like Moehrig because, like you, I like the fact that he's a pretty safe safety prospect. In terms of, hey, can he tackle? Sure. Can he cover some man? Sure. Can he play a deep half? Sure. I'm not totally sold on him being a real free safety, but a deep half? Sure. Our Darius Washington, to me, has the best instincts in this class at safety. And I don't think it's particularly close. And that's my favorite thing at safety. That's why I say he reminds me of Honey Badger, because I think when you are watching TCU tape, and then you can watch any other team's tape and watch how the safeties react to each individual play, he reacts faster than anybody. He's always right. It's like the Nick Bolton of the safety position. He knows where he's going. He knows what he's doing. He knows what the quarterback wants to do. When he's playing man coverage, you can't get open. And like Moehrig has ball production this last year. He has ball production his whole career. And I won't take it from him in any way, shape, or form. He's a really good player. Washington didn't have ball production this year because teams stopped throwing. They just said, no, we're not messing with the 5'8", dude, because every time we do, it ends terribly. We saw it in 2019. Balls get batted down. Balls get picked off. People aren't open. So I realize the risk of, I think he'd literally be the smallest starting safety in the history of the league. And yet I just am going to trust the tape and trust my eyes and say, if you got our Darius Washington in the second round, just line him up and play. Figure it out. Whether he's your free safety this play, strong safety next play, slot corner next play, I don't care. I think he's a stud, and he's safety one, Mike. That's safety one, all 5'8" of him.
I'm gonna run through some things that would tell you that I think Trevon Moehrig's safety one, although Richie Grant, he's got a case too.
Richie Grant's safety 2, Moehrig's safety 3, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, how about this? In a backfield where they both were in the same safety backfield, we go through the accolades. Jim Thorpe Award winner was Moehrig. That's all
awards, people, politics.
I know, but we're in college, so we have to, before we get into the debate on their merits in the NFL, you go through, he made 7 All-American teams. He was the head coach and Associated Press Big 12 DB. I mean, you know, they played in the same backfield. Who was the one calling the plays back there? The leader. He was the team captain every game. He was picked team captain. So, you know, college-wise, when I'm looking at it, you know, I want to project forward and what they can do in the NFL, and I think because of his size, Moehrig has an advantage there. But even if you look at college, I mean, as good as Darius Washington played, he's a damn good player. I think that the college, the awards, the accolades, the team captain, and stuff like that would say that even in college, Moehrig was the better of those 2 safeties before we project them forward to what they could be in the NFL. What would you say to combat that?
I would say that I don't, and I saw Daniel Jeremiah talking about this the other day, where he actually, it's funny that you went that route, because he basically said the NFL teams don't care what awards you won in college. They don't care. Like what I'm looking for is let's put them up against each other. Who's better in man coverage? I believe it's Darius Washington. Who has better instincts? I believe it's Darius Washington. Who is a better zone coverage player? I believe it's Darius Washington. When it comes to playing a football in the air, I would say they're both outstanding. So the only weakness I'm going to find, like even Moehrig versus Washington as a run support or a tackler, Washington's incredibly physical. He's a good tackler. He just happens to be 5'8", so he will have some misses because he can't do the same wrapping up. He doesn't have the same reach, but he's really, really good at it. So I just go like trait by trait and things I'm going to ask you to do in the NFL, and I think it's an advantage Washington almost across the board. And I'm doing that against the consensus safety one in the NFL. So I know this is a setup, Mike. I know I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm here for it.
The thing that projecting them forward, one thing about the size, body density, I heard you and Dane talking on the draft show, and you were talking about the smaller people not getting injured. You're absolutely right. People think it's like boxing. Well, a bigger guy is going to be able to hit this smaller guy and hurt him. It's a different thing. In football, it's body density. You're not punching somebody in the head and causing damage, physical damage to their head. In body density, if you get a big guy like Ben Roethlisberger, you can target an area when you hit him. And the body density on Washington's smaller, so he's going to be harder to injure. So people mistake that. It's not boxing, it's football. Body density is a different thing. The problem is it flips. As a hitter, you know, I don't know where I'm going to play. See, I have Darius Washington as a nickel corner. That's where I would like to play him, because at safety, if I put him in the box, he's going to have trouble with his length getting off blocks. You know, he's going to have the body density. He's going to have trouble impacting runners. He just doesn't have the size. It's not a thing that he did wrong. It's like I told people when we were playing Darian Thompson. And I would tell my friend Nick Carrera on Twitter, I would tell him all the time, get Wilson in there. And he was like, why? You don't know. Wilson might miss a play. He's too young. He doesn't know. And I would tell people, Darian Thompson could know what's happening. He could read the play, and he just doesn't have the ability to do anything about it. Where if Wilson, yes, he'll miss some plays, but as he gets experience, I trust him to make the play once he has the ability to know it's coming. And my problem with Washington is in the box, I don't know if I can trust him to make the play. And if I put him in the deep half, teams are going to throw underneath and have post to DK Metcalf, to Julio Jones. And it's just, what are you going to do? There's a size thing.
Throw it, Mike. Throw it. Because my guy will go get it. And that's the other thing is with size, like I did this with Asante Samuel Jr. at Florida State. I won't write down that their size hurts them until it does. And in the Clemson game, Asante Samuel Jr., his size, it hurt him. They threw 2 jump balls on him back-to-back plays to open the game. And then they took Asante out of the game for a minute. And then they put him back in. I have not seen teams take advantage of my 5'8" guy. Like, I have not seen – now, obviously, look, if you can make a perfect throw to a 6'4" guy and he high points the ball, ain't nothing 5'8" can do about it. But I just think there's so much more to football when you're talking about a ball going 30, 40 yards downfield. Who tracks it, who finds it, who jumps when, who affects who before they jump, and all these different things. I haven't seen his size hurt him. So I acknowledge the risk. Obviously, I'm talking about an outlier, and I'm betting on an outlier because I believe, because that's what the tape is telling me to do. The tape is telling me to believe in Ardarius Washington, and so that's what I'm going to do. And he and we're going to the Hall of Fame together. Okay, that's too far. That's too far. But I'm a believer. I'm a big believer.
We love both guys. That's the thing I want to make clear. Like, ideally, take Moehrig somewhere at the end of the first, trade back, and give me at the end of the second, or with the second we pick up from trading back, give me a Darius Washington and put him in the nickel for me if we can't get Molden.
And you might be able to, I mean, who knows what the NFL thinks, right? Like, Pro Football Focus agrees with me. They have Washington as like the 40-something best player. But a lot of people, I think, are going to have him outside of their top 100 players because of the size. So, goodness, if you could get him in the third or fourth round, I'm doing backflips.
You run to the podium.
Yes. And again, yes, both great players. So, Mike, quality conversation. And I have a town hall meeting for the company to get to, which I'm really looking forward to. So I have to go.
Oh, that's fine, man. I really appreciate you having me on. And this is a blast. And you know how much I've wanted to do this with you. I love the draft show. So thank you so much.
Ardarius Washington, safety one. There he goes. The great Mike Crum. Hold on. I wrote it down. The Across the Cowboys podcast and Cowboys Wire. And I'm me. And I'm on the radio. End meeting for all? No, how do I stop the recording of the meeting? Stop recording.